Who watches The Watchmen? In this video, I'm going to share with you something that I thought you should know about as fellow collectors and graders of books from our cherished hobby, comic books, and how the leading comic book grading company is now involved in something that I always thought they would do their absolute best not to jump into because of like the clear conflicts of interest it raises. All right, so what's CGC doing? Well, at this year's San Diego Comic-Con, which is right around the corner, by the way, July 24th through the 27th, CGC is releasing a CGC exclusive variant of Superman 680 with a Dan Mora cover featuring Crypto the Superdog. It will be a new variant of the 2008 DC comic book Superman number 80 by James Robinson and Renato Guedes that feature the 21st century return of Crypto to the Superman comic books. So this is limited to 3,000 copies, available to everyone in ungraded raw condition, but eligible for grading. And by the way, they're throwing a 1 of 3,000 label on it. All right, and what's the eligibility, you ask? Well, you have to submit at their booth during the show while supplies last. So in essence, CGC, traditionally a grading company, is now entering the publishing and distribution world by commissioning covers and essentially colluding with publishers, with grading as an optional second step. And am I the only one that finds this a little troubling? All right, so look, I've got quite a few CGC graded books, okay? In fact, it's really the only grader I've been sending these to, or any graded books that I buy usually come from CGC. And some of you hate to admit this, but it is the most trusted grader and translates to the most value for your book if you're looking for that sort of thing. All that said, what CGC is doing here is the grading world's equivalent of like Christie's or Sotheby's commissioning a new painting by David Hockney and then auctioning it off exclusively through their own platform with a certificate of authenticity that they themselves created, by the way. And sure, it's on a far smaller scale, but the principle is the same. The line between evaluator and promoter is getting blurry, in my opinion. And when that happens, collectors are the ones who lose clarity and confidence. Now, this raises red flags for me. And, the potential for conflict of interest here is real, you guys. Graders colluding with publishers is so sketchy. Grading companies are supposed to be impartial arbiters of condition and rarity, and I think you agree with this. All I want from CGC is for their pros to grade my book using their skills and standards and to provide a reliable census so I can evaluate its market value. And maybe the buyer that I'm providing it to can do the same. But now CGC is essentially working alongside publishers and distributing its own comic exclusives at shows. That means they're no longer just the judge. They're also a player in the same market they're supposed to be neutral in. And here's the real issue, you guys. CGC can now collaborate with publishers to create variants, or any comic really. And they're practically engineered for high grade because they're new books. And so then, and get this, they can restrict distribution to a select group, like in this case, San Diego Comic-Con attendees, stamp it with a low print run, and boom, instant manufactured scarcity. Grade your books, get an exclusive, grade that exclusive. It's limited, it's hyped, go speculate. You're welcome. So for me, this gives CGC tremendous influence, maybe even a financial incentive over grading trends and perceived rarity. Now, some of you may be saying, hey, this has been around for a while. They've been doing this, but this is sort of in your face, and it's not just a slippery slope. It's a full-on erosion of trust, in my opinion, and the integrity of the system. And what I mean by that is that, like, publisher, distributor, grader, these roles have always been separate, and they should be separate. Publishers publish, distributors distribute, graders grade. Now CGC influences all three in some sense, right? That's unprecedented. And frankly, it blurs the line between cataloging and capitalizing. When the company entrusted with certifying value also creates or introduces speculative products to market, how can we not question its impartiality, right? Now, let's be honest. By doing this, CGC is leaning into the same speculative dynamics that have been already chipping away at the integrity of the collecting hobby itself. But you know what? This time, they're going to do it with an insider's edge. And let's not kid ourselves. CGC and its inner circle have had an insider's edge since the beginning. You've heard the stories, the stacking, the fast tracking, the early peaks, the Friends of CGC pipeline, the whole ecosystem from dealer bidding wars to pressing, grading, and flipping. It's all gotten so bloated, it's started to turn a lot of passionate collectors away from the hobby. Another big concern I have is the precedent it sets. If CGC gets away with this, and it will, what's next? We're going to start seeing CBCS variants, trading card exclusives, VHS sleeves, posters, all sorts of crazy stuff that's going to be flooded into the market. And what's stopping them from launching exclusive products in any collectible medium now? And look, I know some of you are going to say, who cares about this? It's just a variant, get over it. And maybe this won't bother you, but I think it should. If grading companies start playing colluder and influencer, how can we fully trust their impartiality? I keep coming to that. It's important. I was okay with the signature series, even though it's flooded the market with tens of thousands of signed books. But this feels different. It feels very structural and intended. We should all care about protecting grading integrity. It's the backbone of collector trust. And CGC, frankly, should know better. They've spent nearly 25 years building a reputation as the most trusted name in grading. And that goodwill now hangs in the balance. If they want to diversify, fine. But they need to, really build clear, visible walls between grading and their influence. Otherwise, they're just feeding speculation while asking us to believe they're objective. But what do I know? I've only been collecting since the mid-'80s. Maybe speculation is the business model now, and I just need to get over it. And you need to get over it. Maybe that's how they stay afloat. But wouldn't it be nice to know that they still value impartiality? Am I expecting too much, you guys? What are your thoughts? Should CGC really have its own exclusives? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with a fellow collector, and please subscribe. That helps this channel tremendously, and it makes me feel good inside. See you in the next video. Stay rad.